I'm an artist that's been making ACEOs and selling them. So I wanted to give you my perspective in that it might provide you some information that helps you decide if it's a good fit for you. So basically, I think you need to decide what sort of artist you are and who are the people that you're trying to reach. If you're a person where your goal is to be a fine artist and to have your work in galleries, then this might not be the right path for you. However, if you're someone like me and you just want to get your art in the hands of the people and you want to make some money, then I think it's a great way to build your audience and accomplish those goals, because developing an audience is something that you can translate into larger projects down the road. Say you want to launch a Patreon and actually have people sign up for it and support you. Selling ACEOs might be a good way to start your community and get people's eyes on your work and supporting you. Now, I know something that really trips people out is the cost when it comes to ACEOs. And some people feel like, well, why would I invest the time in making such a thing when there's a high potential that I could be losing out on the value when it comes to the labor that it takes to make such a thing? And I have a few different things I would say about that, which are an ACEO should be something that you create very naturally, something that comes quickly to you and that is easy for you to accomplish. And that's probably something that stylistically is a good fit that you can be known for, that people will remember you by. Another thing to consider is that a lot of business advice runs contrary to what artists are told in terms of how to value your work. And if you are a person that is not selling your stuff for the price point you're selling it, you might want to consider that at the beginning you need to lower your prices and work your way up. As far as my ACEOs, I don't start my bidding at 99 cents. I don't feel comfortable doing that, because if I don't get multiple bids that drive up the cost, then I could basically be eating the cost when it comes to shipping and fees from the eBay auction. So personally, I start them at $3.25, and that's what I feel comfortable with. And I have had ones that sell for more than that, which is like super amazing, and I love that. But what you want to consider is that the people that buy your ACEOs could be people that also will purchase larger items from you in the future, if that's a possibility, if you're making other things. And it's also that these people are becoming a part of your audience and getting to know your work. And to me, that is so valuable, to be able to get eyeballs on your work and have people appreciate it and want to invest. And so if I need to sell my stuff for a lower cost at the beginning until, like 10 years down the road, who knows what it will be, then I think that's fair. I think that also ACEOs are an emerging market. It's like, yes, they've been around for quite a while, but we are still at the point where it's not saturated. If you research what's out there and what pieces of tiny art are going for the highest price point, it's very few people that are in that league of selling. There is a variety of skill levels, there's a variety of art styles, a variety of mediums, and there's nowhere near a saturation of the market. It's an emerging market because people still haven't decided what exactly the function of these are. And you can tell that's true because you have someone like me, so I'm putting mine in the cellophane sort of thinner wrapper, and then I put it inside of a top loader, harder plastic card, which is traditional for like sports trading cards. And the reason why I do that is because my partner was in the collectible business and he did work in selling sports trading cards at one point. So we had a lot of these at the house, so lucky me, I got to dive right in and use those. There are other people that, yes, put their art in the cellophane sort of thinner wrappers, But one woman, she actually puts it inside of a card that has those nice little edges that are used for scrapbooking, and the card has a blank background. So essentially the person can utilize it like a mat board and frame the piece all together, which I think is really cool. But that right there shows that there's two different sort of functions that people are looking at when it comes to these. Is it a card that will stay in a sort of plastic holder and operate as a collectible, as a store of value potentially, or is it something that we are framing for the aesthetics of our home? I think it really depends on the collector and what their goals are. And I think that's really cool. Another thing to consider is that I was thinking about what is the long-term potential, and when I thought of the creator, I think her name's Muriel, who created Strawberry Shortcake, and I thought about, she also created the original concept design for Care Bears. Imagine if she was starting her art career in 2026 and came across ACEOs, and she created a collection that was like the rudimentary beginnings of Strawberry Shortcake and the original concept of the Care Bears, and someone bought those. As her career sort of went over the arc and she succeeded in what she did, imagine that in the current market of what happens in terms of these cards being stores of value for people. I think that's a really interesting thing to think about, because there's sort of perception that this market is for like bottom feeders and art slop and people that don't have any talent, and that is so not true. I don't believe that it cheapens your work. I don't believe that it cheapens the market. I think there's room for everybody. And something you have to keep in mind about artists and their sort of judgments and critiques in general is, from the very beginning of like fine art and who had access to being an artist and how these things went, it can be a very pretentious, judgmental, snarky sort of group of people. And that's okay. It's just that you have to understand who you are as an artist and who are you trying to reach. And if this market allows you to reach those people, then I say, hell yeah, go for it. I mean, there are people that are selling ACEOs and still selling their larger works that have a lot of value in them. And I don't think you're going to hurt yourself as a creator if that's what you're doing. And another thing to keep in mind is, when I say who are you trying to reach, I mean, most of the collectors that are collecting from smaller artisans are now millennials and Gen Z. It's not boomers, Gen X, the silent generation. Like, that's not who's buying art from smaller independent artists. And they're finding these people through platforms like Instagram, like TikTok, like probably Pinterest, maybe a Tumblr every once in a while. And if those are your people and who you're trying to reach, I think this is a really great way to get your art into their hands. And something else to consider is you can play around with the format. Something that I just listed was, I have a little monsters series, okay? And I made her after I made this needle felted sculpture. And they correspond and go together as a collector's item. And I want to show you this because I want for you to understand that there's a potential here that we just haven't fully explored as artists. So before you make judgments or get worried that you're doing something you're not supposed to, consider that this is something that has a lot of potential, and I encourage you to try it out. It's low cost. I think the community's really supportive and nice. I'm new to TikTok, and I think everyone is so nice on here and so supportive. I've had a great experience thus far, and I encourage you to, go make art and try it out. There's room for everyone, so good luck.